time to bring it on with your email questions. Pat, this first question comes from Tina, who says, can a narcissistic person ever change? I've been married to one for 19 years. He never owns up to his bad behavior, only covers up things. I've had enough, but divorce doesn't seem to be an option because he refuses to leave. What can I do?
Well, I think he might talk to his mother and see what she did with him. You know, the narcissistic, the whole idea is he's absorbed with himself. He loves himself, and like the man who looked in the reflecting water and fell in love with the image there. These narcissists they're so totally self-absorbed, but how do they get that way? As I say, I'd talk to his mother. I don't know what you do. You married him. I didn't marry him. I don't know what you did. Yeah. It shows we need to vet. You know, the president talked about extreme vetting. Let me tell you, you ought to do extreme vetting before you get married to somebody.
Maybe some counseling might help.
But those counseling. How are you going to counsel somebody who's ingrained in self-love?
Yeah.
I don't know what you can do. The only thing that would change that would be a serious accident or some tragedy that might wake him up to who he is. I don't know. A revelation from God. But you say he won't leave, you can't get a divorce, he won't leave. Well, you get a divorce, he will be forced to leave. Maybe a separation. You know, I don't think we have to live in intolerable situations over and over again. But you certainly can get a separation, and maybe that would shape him up. I doubt it. But people are, I mean, he's had all those years to fall in love with himself, and you're not going to shake it out of him anytime soon. Yeah. All right.
Okay, this is Caitlin, who says, I am the only Christian in a liberal Buddhist family. They've always been ashamed of me for my faith and conservative political beliefs. I've always been kind and patient and supportive of them through life's crises, hoping that just being a good person would reflect well on Jesus, since they won't let me talk about my faith without things getting unpleasant. They treat me terribly. Also, I have a hard life. My husband is severely disabled, and I care for him full time. The relationship with my family just brings extra unneeded stress, and I feel like I can't take it anymore. Is it wrong for me to cut ties with my family? My husband hates the way they treat me.
Listen, I think that's what's got to be done. You know, when my mother and father cast me out, the Bible says the Lord will take me up. And I think you have to rely on him. But listen, the Bible says, for this cause a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the twain will be one flesh. You leave your mother and father and cleave to your spouse. A new family is formed. The old one is over, and this is new. You still honor your mother and father, but at the same time, you've got to get on with your life with your husband. If your husband is with you, by all means, I mean, if these people are beating you up, why endure it? You don't have to do that. All right.
This is Kay, who says, with all the violence in the world today and the fear of being attacked, what do you think of Christians carrying guns? Is it okay to protect yourself, or would killing in the name of self-defense be considered a sin? Does turning the other cheek apply here?
Was the Quaker was carrying a gun, and they said, well, brother, don't you understand that if your time has come, you should be prepared for it and rely on the Lord? And he said, but what if I meet an Indian whose time has come? You know, I mean, it's one of those, I don't know. I've got no, you know, it really they've found, and I know this may upset people, that in communities where the citizens are allowed to have guns, the incidence of violent crime goes down because the perpetrators know they can't have a free pass and beat up on some unarmed person. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but at the same time, to take an innocent life, but in self-defense, I do believe that there's an exception for that, and that's what you're talking about.
Well, that's what our police officers do every day if they need to.
Of course they
right?
do.
Sure.
Of course they do.